And looking forward to the game this weekend. And obviously, last weekend didn't go the way we wanted it to, but I think we're after watching the film and seeing where we're at, have a lot of excitement for what we can get done this week with a quality opponent in Oklahoma, a great team that's ranked, and Venables has done a great job with that team. And you look at his background, he's had. Kind of when he was in Clemson, he's had his pick of jobs and he turned down a bunch of jobs, and this is the one that he took. And so you can see that the Oklahoma brand, they're a national team, and they've had tons of success there in the tradition that they have in that program. So they've been around for a long time and at a high level in the P5 level for decades. And so you see that what they've done with their program and how well they've been coached. They're ranked for a reason, and but looking at what they've done since Venables been a coach, I believe they're 6-6 last year, and look at what the improvement they've made from last year to now being a ranked team with a bunch of fantastic players. I mean, they could do so many things in all three phases. Offensively, we're very familiar with their quarterback and the things that he can do with his feet and with his arm. Very strong arm and physical O-line, great playmakers and skill positions, running back and receivers and tight ends. And then defensively strong. I think they have probably the best linebacker in the country playing from. And then you combine that with fantastic DBs that tackle well, that cover well, D-line that's really strong and physical. I mean, it's a complete team. And so looking in this week in the matchup, we've got to find ways to minimize the mistakes which happened last week. We had tons of mistakes that cost us the game, and keeping things in perspective, we're 5-5. We're trying to find a way to win for the seniors. This is the last game at LaVell Edwards Stadium. Trying to win one for them, trying to find a way to play at our best and to minimize the mistakes that we've made. And when you're playing in this type of the schedule in this conference, I mean, we're still looking at the most difficult schedule in BYU history, and we're sitting at 5-5 with a chance to win the game and go to a bowl game. And so we're still playing for a lot of things. That we get the energy that we had in the stadium was awesome. We just got to find ways to keep the fans there and entertained, and make them an advantage for us going into the game and to the end of the game, so we have a shot at winning. And so focus on our values and standard of play. Minimize mistakes, and then if we can get that done, I think we feel really good about the performance overall. Love the fight in the players. They work hard and they don't quit. And so the culture on the team is still thriving. I believe the culture is still thriving because guys aren't pointing fingers. Guys are still unified. With a lot of outside noise, guys are still connected and still love their role as a team. And then I love how much you could tell when guys are doing well in life, even through adversity, when they still have appreciation and gratitude in their lives. And so our players do have that. They are thankful for the role that they play in life, other than just football. But I'm looking forward to us as coaches and as a program getting things situated so we can play better. Just goes to show the experience that you have, though, when you make too many mistakes. I mean, if I'm just looking at it in three phases, if we make too many mistakes at the beginning of the game, I mean, you basically give up 10 points with the mistakes that you have that are easy to fix. And then two big plays on defense that gives them that's a lot of points right there that you just minimize the mistakes. And you say that and then people say, well, you can't do anything right. Well, it takes one guy to lose the edge in a run, and one guy to not cover the right person, one guy to miss the tackle. So the guys aren't quitting. I love watching the film, see how the energy that they have and the fight that they have. We just need to channel it to playing smarter football, but also you have to see that we're going against difficult opponents. They just don't make it easy on you, and when you make those mistakes, the experience itself will give you a great lesson on how you can't make those mistakes and expect to come back and win. You get blown out by really good physical teams that are in the P5 level. That's what happens. And so that experience will be a good teaching experience for us, but only if we allow it to make us execute at a cleaner level and a higher level, and hopefully get that done against Oklahoma this weekend. So any questions you guys have?
Awesome. Thanks for that opening statement, Coach. We'll start with Mitch Harper and then Jared Lloyd.
Yeah, Kalani, you said you got a lot of excitement for this week after seeing the film. You noted energy, but what else got you excited that makes you feel good heading into this week against a nationally ranked team like Oklahoma?
Well, it's a great opportunity. I mean, that's they're ranked. They're in the hunt for the conference championship. They're in our home stadium, and so there's a lot to play for. We have one win away from extending the season, getting to a bowl game. So there's a lot to play for, and I'm excited because I know that the things that we could play way better, and I'm looking forward to getting that done. And there's a lot of factors that go into it, but one of it is that our guys aren't quitting, and our guys love what they're doing here. And we got to build on that. We do have to minimize the mistakes. I think you can fight back from mistakes. We've shown that you can fight back from mistakes. I mean, we're down by 14 twice against Arkansas, fought back and won that game. But it takes everybody doing everything right, from even overcoming adversity. But you can't just keep spotting teams points by the mistakes. Ball security is something that we pride ourselves in here at BYU, and when you didn't see it and didn't own the ball, we said that ball belongs to Cougar Nation, doesn't belong to the individual that's carrying the ball, it belongs to the fan base. And so that shows that when you aren't on top of it, mistakes happen. It can literally cost you momentum in the game.
Saw Slovis was suited up and throwing passes in pregame on Saturday before Iowa State. Is he set to return and be the starter this week?
He practiced last week. He's still banged up, not 100% yet last week, and we felt like Jake gave us the better chance. This week we'll kind of see what it looks like this week and let you know. I mean, that's I'm not in Keaton's body, but I can tell you that if he's ready to go and if he's full strength, then he's our guy usually.
Kalani, what has to change? Obviously, the last 3 weeks have not gone well. What do you do differently so you don't have the same results again?
Yeah, if the mistakes were all the same, then they'll be different. I mean, West Virginia game. If you look at Texas, when the guys fought hard defensively, one phase was working for us, and it gave us a chance. We're down 2 scores. We're down 15 points with 10 minutes left, and we had the ball. So when one phase is working hard and playing hard and minimizing mistakes, not saying that we didn't make mistakes defensively against Texas, but one part of our 3 phases was working really, really well. The other 2 phases didn't do their part. I mean, we gave a punt return for a touchdown, and offensively we weren't getting points on the board. We got field goals, and we weren't converting them into touchdowns. And so when you look at that situation, we weren't in a horrible position because one phase actually gives a chance to win. Imagine if 2 or 3 phases are functioning that way, then you can figure it out. And you go to West Virginia, none of the phases were working. You look at the opening drive, two PIs for 30 yards, marches them down there, right? And just didn't respond the right way when we had a chance, when we got the ball. Didn't march down, and when all 3 phases aren't working and there's mistakes in all 3 phases, it's really hard to come back from that game. Not saying that the guys didn't fight; they fought. I mean, on kickoff return, we had one for a touchdown called back because of a hold. That's hard to create momentum when you keep making the mistakes and when one of the 3 phases isn't functioning well. So that's key. And then you look at this game, the turnovers and we went fumble, recovered it, interception, fumble. Those are when we had the ball in our possession, that's what we did with the first 3 times that we had the ball. And so that's a tough thing to start the game off with. We can't do that. We can't. And taking care of the football it's a program thing. That ball security is what we do, and the fact that we didn't take care of it in those back-to-back kickoff returns is embarrassing. That's what we've got to fix. Now, if that shows up again, then I'll be really upset. Just like, remember the illegal touching? I know this seems like almost last year we had the illegal touching happen again. It's just like, okay, enough already. I can't believe that it showed up the next week, right? So when those mistakes are happening, yeah, that's on us. We got to figure that out. So the mistakes are different. They're not the same, but they're mistakes all the same. Does that make sense? Like, there's still mistakes, and we've got to find a way not to do that. And I mean, I'm giving you have to understand we're going against a different beast here. These are teams that have been at this Power 5 level way longer than we have. I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you they're really good players. And you look at these teams that are doing it. Oklahoma, I said they're 6-6 last year. They're in a really good spot. They're in playoff contention before a couple weeks ago. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of parity in this league. For me, I'm not really worried about the entire league as much as I'm worried about what we can do within our scheme and our system. If I had players out there quitting, then I would be really, really worried about what's going on. That's why I feel like that's why I'm excited to see what we can get done this week, and excited to that we're at home again. It was nice to be at home. I wish we could have done better and showed better, but I love the fact that we're playing at home, senior game, 10 a.m. kickoff. A lot of cool things to think about, and it'd be nice to go home and have the sun still be up, unless it rains, which I'm not against either.
The other thing I was going to ask, Kalani, was just about physicality. We talked a little bit about it after the game, but in the trenches, you weren't happy with the performance. How do you ramp that up?
Yeah. It's not. They weren't like turning down contact. So when we're saying we're not being physical enough, it's being stout enough and getting overwhelmed by a really good front on both sides of the ball. I think we were able to do some really good things in the run game. Our team's a physical team. You can talk to anybody that coaches against us. Our team's a physical team. What makes it not look very physical was if we're missing tackles and unblocked guys, if we're missing blocks. You know what I mean? And so when I say not physical enough, these are big, strong O linemen and D linemen that we're going against. We need to be stout at the line of scrimmage, and you usually judge that according to how many yards they can run for, and how many yards we can run for. So that's an easy indicator on what we're getting done up front. But overall, I mean, there's some good points where we were winning the battle up front. It was a back and forth. It just I wouldn't say that we were just overwhelmed too much, but there are moments that it did happen, and that happens sometimes, But the team we're a physical team. We just need to play more stout.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, Kalani, with senior day coming up here, have you started to have conversations at all with players of what their plans are and whether you're expecting them to return? And overall, do you have any sense right now where the roster is going to be in a couple weeks in terms of attrition and what you're expecting?
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of guys that are in that in that area where they can play another year. Obviously, the guys that their eligibility is up, those guys, it's definitely their senior night. But it's the ones that are graduating that still have a year left to play. I'd love for them to all come back, but it's their decision on what they want to get done and what they want to pursue after they're done with football. We've during the bye week we had conversations with a bunch of guys. I know the position coaches are talking to their guys individually. Same with the coordinators and myself if needed. But for the most part, the guys are focusing on the season. I think we just to be safe, we're probably going to have more people that are going to be in senior night or senior day than normal. But that's just to make sure that if they do leave, that we've got a senior game for them, that we can honor them. But we kind of understand. We know where we're at with the numbers and what we're going to get, and the natural attrition that happens, and so we'll be able to respond if guys do leave and go early with eligibility left. I think we're in a really good spot to replace the talent and the talent that we have coming back from missions and that are mid-year high school signees that we can get. We feel really good about.
Okay, next we'll have Jake Hatch and then Jay Drew.
Yeah, Kalani, just a question of how you handled the missed face mask call on a guy like Jake Retzloff in games. That's something you submit to the conference after the fact to get clarification on. How do you handle that?
Well, my first thing is talk to the crew and ask if they saw it or they missed it. And, they obviously missed it. Listen, they have a lot of eyes on the field, but sometimes they miss things, and they don't have the comfort of getting the replay like we all get to. So after the game happens, you can see everybody look at the big screens to see the replay, and then we get mad at them and they missed it, but it's okay. I don't need to do anything for them to review because they usually review it themselves. And then credit to the crew, the ref crew, they came and they communicated with me on all that they might have missed it. But it's not anything that was deliberate by them. I've been around this crew many times. I've been around these ref crews many times. They do a great job, and they're human. Sometimes something gets missed, and you just got to move on. I think that's part of the game. But I respect what they do, and the things that they communicate to me, I understand it. So we just got to move on. I don't need to do anything extra about that. They're trying their best, and for the most part, they're usually 100% correct.
And I also wanted to ask you already have experience having gone up against Dylan Gabriel in the Boca Raton Bowl. What do you remember of him, and how do you think he's changed to today?
Oh, he has tons of experience, and so you could see it. He feels really comfortable. I thought he was that way when we played him, years ago, and so he's got so much talent, and I've known about him because we try to keep up with the local boys and try to see how those guys are doing and on the field wherever they go, and he's been. Man, I've been really impressed with him. It's been a lot of fun. You see him in the rivalry game, Red River rivalry. He had a great showing. He's doing some really good things, leading his team. We're going to have to play at our best, but he's not a guy that you can think he's gonna lose his composure. He's very poised, and even more now with all the experience that he has, very comfortable in the system, and give a lot of credit to Oklahoma. I think they're putting him in a position where he thrives, where they're utilizing his strengths, and he finds ways to get the ball to the right people, and he's not against running the ball himself too. So it's a lot of threats all at once, and we're going to have to be really assignment sound when it comes down to this. We can't make the same mistakes. Listen, when I say mistakes, we've been assignment sound in a lot of our plays that we made. They just made the play and we didn't. I'd be nervous if there's like uncovered guys running for touchdowns or on routes and stuff like that. We had guys in the right spot. They didn't make the tackle. They didn't make the play. They didn't contain or certain things like that, and it happens, especially against great athletes. This guy, if you make a mistake, he will punish you for it. And so we've got to be assignment sound and use great technique to have a chance at this.
Hey, Kalani, I understand today you're doing the Civic Engagement Day. Does that mean you won't be practicing today? Or can you still practice and count it as your Civic Engagement Day?
No, there'll be no practice, and we knew going into it that we'd have to, you'd have to basically mark a day that you would use for the Civic Engagement Day, and this was the day that we marked a while ago. We made that decision, and so, and you can't use a day that you usually take off, and so for us, everyone knows that we take the Sundays off, and so you can't say, well, that's our day off. It has to be a day that you normally would use for operations and for football and practice meetings, things like that. And so we will honor it. Everybody has to deal with it. Other schools can list it as a Sunday because that's usually an operating day for them. For us, it's basically the players are on their own to take care of whatever they need to get done today. And so I trust our guys to get stuff done. But we can't organize anything. The players have to basically do their part, and I can't instruct them to do stuff. Luckily, we have players that love the game, love this matchup, and are excited to get going today.
And then just as a follow-up, you mentioned Keaton may or may not be back. What about like Darius Lassiter, some of these other guys that have been out?
Okay, so Darius, there's a good chance he'll be back this week, and so maybe I'm like wanting him so badly to play, but yeah, I do want him on the field. But I think there's a much better chance that he plays this week, and I'm excited about his return. Who else, Jay? You have to ask by individual. I'm trying to think of who else. Keanu played last week, so he'll be ready to roll. Anybody else, Jay?
John Nelson, Caden Haas have been out.
John Nelson and Caden will be difficult to say, but I let me see one at a time. John Nelson, probably not, and then Caden, probably not, but we'll see. I mean, I don't want to. There's a chance, but it's hard if they don't practice. Keaton practiced last week, so the guys, they have to practice, and so those guys haven't practiced yet, and so hopefully we get them on the practice field. Talon Alfrey practiced, I want to say 2 weeks ago, and this was the first game that he was able to play in. So it's good to have him back. Anybody else, Jay, that you can think of? I don't mind going player by player.
Marcus McKenzie, I think.
Marcus McKenzie most likely not.
Okay, and John Henry Daly.
Don Henry Daly's in red shirt mode, so probably not until the bowl game.
Okay,
We used him already in 4 games.
that's the only ones I can think of.
Okay.
Awesome. Coach, we have a couple more questions. We'll go Mitch Harper and then Jake Hatch.
Of course.
Kalani, just curious on running back LJ Martin, why wasn't he used until late in the second quarter? Was there a reasoning behind that? Because he seemed to be pretty successful in the second half. Why wait until late in the second quarter on him?
Mitch, I don't know. I'm talking to the. I didn't know that happened until watching the film. You know what I mean? And so maybe I don't know how many plays we had as or drives that we had as an offense in the first half, but maybe if we get more first downs and drives that go a little bit longer, that we might be able to would have seen him earlier. I know that going into this game, we were trying to work him into it. He wasn't 100%. I think he's full go now. So I believe him and Aiden will handle most of the carries from here on out.
And then last thing for me, what's the wake-up time for you guys on Saturday with a 10 a.m. kick?
I believe 6 a.m. we want to get our pregame meal. Usually eat pregame meal anywhere from 3.5 to 4 hours before the game. So I think the game's is it 10 or what is it, 10:05, one of those weird times? Brett?
We haven't had that officially yet, but 10, a little after 10.
I know one thing, there won't be a slide on the game, so because there can't be a game before that one. So it'll be an early morning, so I'm just going to ask everybody to remember the early morning seminary days. Get up early, fans, and show up and be there early. And, maybe we'll have the cougar tail should taste really good in the morning, right? We'll be hot and fresh, ready to roll. We'll be eating our pregame meal 3.5 to 4 hours before, so 6 a.m. wake up, and then away we go. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know what the weather's going to look like, but this is a really cool experience. Let's get ready to roll, man. I'm excited to play this game, and the earlier the better. I mean, we went from playing late at 8:15 to now playing early. I don't think there's going to be. This is the first game of the day, right? Yeah. So pretty cool. It's going to be weird going home after the game and having the sun out.
I had a similar question to that, Kalani. How will you shift things in terms of preparation? So I know you can't necessarily move practice that much earlier because of school and whatnot, but what can you do to prepare for it?
Well, I think we get an afternoon. We're an afternoon practice team, so we'll practice in the afternoon. But I think getting the guys up early. I mean, most of our guys are up around that hour, anyways. We do enough things in the weight room, and our players are usually in the facility around that time, anyways, watching film on their own. So I don't think it's going to be that much of a transition for them in terms of waking up. Just getting on the field and going will be something different, but they're usually working out or doing something physical in the morning anyways. And so the guys I think will be okay with the adjustment of the schedule. We might just move things up a little bit. We will move things up on Friday and Thursday just to accommodate the schedule a little bit more in terms of meetings, so that they can have we can be done, so they can have more time to go to bed and especially Friday night get to rest earlier. But I think the guys have been doing that already on their own.
Then have you gotten to the bottom of what caused the cleat issues? Was it cleats? Was it you talking about body positioning? Did you figure out anything that you're going to change on that?
I say body positioning because I mean that's I just think that good athletes don't slip, but we had a lot of really good athletes slip, and so we'll figure it out. I think between the surface and the footwear and things like that, there's answers out there. Nike's a great brand, and they have a lot of things for us to work with. I mean that was, I think the warm up, guys could sense a little bit, but yeah, you could tell that had something to do with maybe with the confidence of how we played, but I don't want to give it too much of a factor. To me, it's like if you're in good body position, you shouldn't slip, but we were in good body position a number of times and we still slipped, and so we're still going to try to teach our guys to be in great body position to make plays, physically be in the right spot, but have great technique. And then, we'll learn from it. And the surface is just a little different for us, but we'll see what it looks like at 10 a.m. too. I'm going to send our chief of staff and DFO out there to go walk the surface at 10 a.m. and see how it feels. But I'm not worried about it. They're playing on the same surface as we are, and Iowa State did too. So we just got to do everything we can to put our guys in a position to succeed.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. That's all the questions
All right,
for
guys.
today.
Take care. Thank you.